We've had a fair bit of debate during the week about Sam Talpepper. Does he need a rest or not? You always say young players shouldn't be talked into a rest, but does he need one?
Yeah, well, does he need one? We probably think it's an opportunity for him to have a bit of a spell in his first season, which has been amazing. We'll take that opportunity this week, and we will give him a little rest. You know, speaking to him through the week, he said, "I don't really need a rest, but I'll have it." So I think that in itself says that it won't hurt him. He'll be back next week. He'll be bounced straight back in and be at it again.
Is it more physical or mental with him now?
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's more, the drain, the expectation on a young first-year player. So we'll just give him a freshen up, and I think we'll get a great result out of that.
What does Sam and whoever else happens to be having a rest this week, what do they do on the weekend?
Whoever else.
Well, Jackson's not selected in the sample.
Curious one.
Yeah, no, those who don't get picked will play in the sample if they've got no injuries.
So Sam, what does he do this weekend then? He'll be playing...
No, Sam will have a rest.
So what's
he's having a physical rest as well.
Nothing this weekend? Or?
No, he's having a spell. He'll just freshen up and have a couple of days away, which he's having at the moment, and then he'll come back nice and fresh for next week.
So Tringo does go to SANFL?
He will, yes.
And when did Homsch emerge with the hip?
Oh, look, it's been there for a little bit, to be fair, and Jack, right back to the pre-season, he had hip surgery, so he hasn't quite... Now, the hip is part of it. It's not the only part why Jack's not in the side. We should be really clear on that. But at the moment, he's certainly struggling to be at his absolute best physically. And what part of that's been playing out in his performance is what we're trying to figure out for him, because he's just not quite at his best at AFL level. He's probably okay at a level under that, because he's got enough, football talent that gets him through. But when he goes up that level, the speed's been a bit hard for him.
You haven't really bought a key defender. I'm not sure if Dougal Howard will play there, but he'll probably play forward for Jacko. So are you going with a smaller back line with Houston?
Figure it out on Sunday.
Just on Jackson, is he just not doing it? Is he just not carrying the load at the moment?
Yeah, and look, I spoke to Jacko, and it's really clear. He does play a number of parts, but he's not consistently playing at the level we need in those parts. Now, his is a really hard game to match and to judge, because of its ruck. Last week's a bit of back and a bit of forward, so he understands that he's just a little bit off the level that's required to own that spot.
With Jasper Pittard was dropped earlier this year, and he's coming out of contract. Jacko's coming out of contract. Is it harder to perform in a contract year when you know you're playing for your future and your financial future, do you think?
No, look, I think that's really individual. I don't think it's... Because there'll be plenty of examples of people having their best years who are coming out of contract, and we all, there's an example over in Melbourne of a bloke at Richmond, I think, that's playing pretty well. So I think that really affects players. My personal view is that's not a massive thing for a player to handle. I think their performance on game day takes over. Game day takes over. They're not thinking about contracts. They're not worried about it. They just go there and play.
Has Jacko lost his identity a bit? I mean, you say he's got a couple of roles, and it's probably a bit more difficult to be a master of three roles as opposed to, say, like Charlie as the ruck and forward. So with Jacko, is it difficult for him to get his head around doing a variety of things, all of them at the highest level?
No, I don't think so. I think it's been pretty clear. I mean, this year Jacko's basically played forward and ruck. I don't think it's been too much in that. I think we've got a number of players who have to be flexible, and every side in the AFL has to be flexible. So no one player probably stays in the one spot for the whole season. To be fair, there might be a full back or a centre half back type player, but more often than not, you have to have a bit of flexibility. Jacko's just a little bit off, and he owns that and he knows that.
Can you Dougal Howard a need, or is he ready for AFL?
I know he's ready. We've been really cautious with Dougal after doing the knee last year. He's got some real power that we like, and he's got some speed at the top end, and he's a good size, marks the ball, kicks the ball really well, and he can be. We just talked about he can play both ends and he can play in the ruck.
Do you need also there, because of the low scoring recently, that you need a second target there other than just Charlie Dixon?
Oh no, not so much, Rich. To be honest, I think it's more about, I think. Wingard comes back into the side, that certainly helps us in that scoring capacity too. Gray's been scoring, Dixon's been really strong. We can't rely on one individuals, but we can't also rely just on talls to do the scoring or smalls. Everyone together. We need midfielders kicking goals as well. So that's the big part. You got to have the whole team involved.
And what's it mean for Angus? Hasn't played a game for 2 years, then comes back and then immediately out of the side. Is that pretty tough on him?
Oh yeah, it is. But look, Angus knows too himself that He's been trying, he's been battling this year a little bit with injury to get himself right. we took an opportunity where we thought he would perhaps be at his freshest, obviously come in, and he just still needs to play as much football as he possibly can and keep at it for as long as he possibly can. And obviously, without going into great depth, we all understand where Angus is at in his career.
Has he played his last game then, do you think?
Oh, there's a chance, but there's a chance that everyone's played their last game when they play last, but you never say no. But Angus is a realist. We're pretty understanding of where things are at.
Can you back in the midfield again? How do you deal with them, particularly after what's been served up in the past month with contested footy?
Yeah, and they've got to own that, and they do. They're really honest. The group, they'll do what they can to make sure that that's not a continuing trend. But it does happen. Teams do go through a patch where they're not quite getting it right. They can't do any more work on it. They're thorough in their preparation. They train really well. They've trained really well again this week. They've just got to keep at it. Sometimes just got to keep grinding away until the wheel turns in your favour again.
So how did you work between either backing them in or shaking them up by dropping one of them?
I think we've, we're particularly talking about in the main part of that midfield group. We're talking about Ollie, Braddon, Ryder, Polak, Westhoff. They've all probably at some point never been out of in really bad individual form. I think they've just had a little patch. The collective in the last probably the last 2 or 3 weeks is down. They've got to change it, and they've got to work really hard to change it.
With Powell-Pepper out, does this give Boak a big opportunity to come back in and really have a crack in the inside? He's been playing half forward, kind of moving around.
Yeah, we won't change too much of what we're about and how we're trying to go about things. We'll play the game that we need to play on Sunday, obviously, and we'll do our best because we know Collingwood's midfield has been really, really good. We've seen them only a couple of weeks ago do a number on the Crows midfield, and we've seen what happened to us last week. So we're up for a big challenge there, and whatever personnel we need, we will use there.
Last time he played Collingwood, it was almost the start of Chatty's move into the midfield when he ran with Pendlebury in the second half, and he did pretty well. His month following that was elite. Has that? I mean, surprising probably isn't the right word, but the way he's done that so successfully. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh no, I think he's been really good. I mean, he's been there for a fair bit longer than that. I think if we go all the way back to Shanghai, we played Chad in the midfield, and he was really strong. And he's been there most of the year. But he's a pretty talented player who can influence the game almost in whatever position he plays in. So that's a bonus for us. We look forward to him doing that again on Sunday now that we've got him back.
Cam, did you get the answers from the playing group about last week's effort, or why the effort was so poor?
Yeah, no, well, it's a hard question because they own the effort and they own the embarrassment of the performance. They understand that, but the answers are not that easy when you think about what went wrong. They didn't go out there deliberately not wanting to compete and contest with the Adelaide side. They just were showing up on that night. So probably more the answer will come on Sunday, I hope. That's what we've got to look forward to, and we've got to look forward to the opportunity. And as a group, they have responded usually.
Have you been shaken up by the fans' reaction to it?
No.
It's been rather bitter and pointed at times this week.
No. Look, I respect the fans. I respect our members that they have an opinion, and they don't like the team playing the way they played. I can assure them. The only thing I can assure them is no one does. And more importantly, the internal people care about that more than people, I think, outside understand. It's pretty damaging to the people on the inside too.
You've been big on the Port Adelaide message in your time here. Do you sort of walk into that review, for example, and point out, bits of Port Adelaide that the boys didn't quite live up to?
Yeah. Yep. 100%. I mean, we don't hide away from our performance. We never have, and we never will. We understand we delivered a performance that was way below an expected level by us as a football club, by the internal people, as I said before. No one expects more than the people who work inside here.
And only 18 coaches, obviously, in the AFL. What are your thoughts when you see one of your fellow coaches go down like Rocket Eve?
Yeah, it's the industry. That's why we never sure, are we, as coaches? We're as comfortable as we are today, and that's about as all we can be because the industry is demanding. It's all about winning and losing. I understand that. I live that. I've heard it. You feel for anyone that's been in our jobs because you know how demanding the job is, and then you know the scrutiny that goes with it when you're not performing. And you feel for Rocket at that time, but I'm sure he'll recover. Rocket he'll be fine. He'll bounce back.
You've lost assistant coaches in the past. Do you fear selfishly? Do you fear you lose any more this time around?
No, I don't. I don't fear for it. I don't worry about it. I think if people are required, they get sought out and they get asked the question. And good luck to them if they get those opportunities. I always say, someone's got to give you a chance at some stage.
When you say the group owns what happened on Sunday, it's a statement, but how do people know what that means? How do they go about actually correcting and dealing with?
Well, I think there's some performance will give you the best indicator, won't it? It's the way you go about and the way you play this week. And we're playing a really good team this week who've been in great form. They won 3 and drawn 1, I think, in the last month. You know, there's no doubt Collingwood are in pretty good nick. So if we're not up for the battle, we'll be in trouble again. And you know, this season's so close. We need to just take care of ourselves and play the way we need to play to get a win.
How important 4 points this week?
As important as it was last week and next week.
Given the state of everything in the AFL right now.
Clearly, with 3 rounds to go, with the competition as tight as it is, every game is super, super important. If that's what you want me to say, that's what it is. It's 4 points for us this week is crucial, but as it is, I would have said for any one of the top 12 probably. They all want to win again this week. It's going to be pretty exciting last 3 weeks, I reckon.
Have you done some sums on the ladder predictors?
I've told you before, don't go to the ladder predictor. It's no good.
So if you win one, you're almost locked in, aren't you? Or you are locked in?
No, I don't know. I think, 12 sounds like the number that's going to maybe get you in the 8. It always traditionally has been around that number. So, if we win this week, we get to 12. We won't take nothing for granted. We hope to not only get to 12, but get to 13, get to 14, but we're going to worry about 12 first.
In terms of the performance, is showdown result a jolter or a dampener on? How have they handled the shock of an 84-point loss?
No, it's a definite jolt. There's no doubt about that. And for people to say anything other than that, it's not right. It knocks you around. And we understand the importance of a showdown. People sometimes think they don't understand the importance of a showdown. I ask a question back at those people, are you sure that's what you think? Because it's not right. They understand it.